we give to the created things of this world, that which belongs to God alone, we have made it an idol in our life. And I can only give you sort of a test that I use for myself as an indication of how you might want to think about this, but you know what you think about in your downtime. Now, it seems to me that in our land we have become so addicted to sound and to distraction that there almost isn't any downtime. But when you're not having to concentrate on something and you're not being distracted by a blinking screen, by music, by a news report, whatever else it might be, in that quiet time, to what does your heart turn? To what do your thoughts turn? What is most important to us? What do we find to truly satisfy us as we think about the future or about our lives, about what our desires are? And if our primary thoughts are upon our things, our activities, rather than upon God and His truth, if that's where our passions are focused, that's where our love and our worship is. And we may have all the theological T's crossed and I's dotted. But if we can look into our own hearts and recognize that we love things, we love the things of this world, so that if they were taken away, the first thoughts across our hearts would be, why me, God? Where's your justice, God? Rather than a recognition of His righteousness and His goodness and our dependence upon Him, that's idolatry. That's idolatry. We are not to make idols, molten gods. Verses 5 through 8 is one topic. And again, it's one that most of us would just pass by without giving much thought to, until you notice the one word: peace. Peace offerings. What was a peace offering? Think about what a peace offering refers to. Think about what it draws our mind to. God had provided a way through the sacrifice to deal with transgression and sin, to allow His people to dwell in the presence of His holiness. So what was a peace offering? A shalom offering. Shalom. The Hebrew language, shalom is not merely a cessation of hostilities. This is important to understand. I think it gives us an insight into how Jesus is called Sar Shalom, Prince of Peace. And how it is in Romans 5:1, it is said that since we've been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. It's the result of Christ's work. It's something that we have with God. Some of you may recall, I'm not sure if any of you were there. I'm not sure if Brick made it over or not. I don't think so. I know Kelly was there. But one of the most memorable events I've ever had in, now, as of last Saturday, 147 moderated public debates, was with Mitchell Pacwa at a large Catholic church in San Diego in January of 1991. I don't even want to ask how many of you were not yet born in 1991. That would make me feel very old. But January of 1991, we had a debate on justification. And I asked Mitchell Pacwa a question. I wish I could show you the video, but the Roman Catholics have been suppressing it for many, many years now and won't let it go. But the audio is available anyway. And I asked him a question. And fundamentally, I'll have to sort of boil it down a little bit because it was fairly complex. But within Roman Catholicism, you have something called venial sins and mortal sins. Mortal sins destroy the grace of justification. Venial sins do not. And I knew something about Mitch Pacwa. He speaks 12 languages, including Hebrew. So I could ask him a question. And the thing I like even to this day about Mitch Pacwa is he's going to give me an honest answer. I said, if the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, then it would seem that to break the greatest commandment would have to be a mortal sin. How could breaking the greatest commandment be just a venial sin and breaking lesser commandments be a mortal sin? That doesn't make any sense. And so in light of that, you'd have to admit that before your head touches the pillow this evening, you could commit a mortal sin. The relationship you have with God could be broken, the grace of justification destroyed, and what that means is you've become an enemy of God. You must admit that you could, before you go to sleep tonight on the Roman Catholic system, be an enemy of God. And so in light of that, how could Paul say, therefore we have peace with God, having been justified by faith? When you know, Dr. Pacwa, speaker of 12 languages, what shalom means. That shalom is not merely a cessation of hostilities. There is no shalom in Israel today when there are crews 24 hours a day manning the Iron Dome system in Israel. You know what the Iron Dome system is? It's their anti-missile system where they try to shoot down the incoming rockets from wherever they end up coming from. There are tanks on the border. There are aircraft fueled and ready at all times. Israel is not in a state of peace, even if there have been no rocket attacks today, no suicide attacks today, because every Jewish citizen is packing heat. Every single one of them. That means there's no shalom, there is no wellness of relationship with the neighboring countries, mainly because they don't want there to be any wellness of relationship.